I'm also available for speaking engagements. Can't speak tonight, everyone. Speaking engagements here in Cincinnati. I've had a whole lot of busyness today, good things going on. The contact information is gods.proof.period@gmail.com, and the telephone number is 513-436-0081. And if you're watching on YouTube or Ustream, we have a hub, and it's gods-place.net or go back a slide, GODS like a minus sign, place.net, and that's where we encourage everyone to go because we have other ministries and you can see other things. We also have a passion that I have for a place that's right down the road here, a couple of miles, and it's a very large commercial building. And if you guys are seeing these pictures, right in the middle you'll see that yellow section, which is kind of a squarish, elongated squarish. And then we can put websites in there of broadcasts that we're doing, and we could do plays and all kinds of things. So you can kind of see as they rotate through the pictures that it's a fairly large building. It's brand new. It's a couple of years old, and it's totally empty inside. There's nothing but dirt. And as she's rotating through this, you can see the floor is basically concrete when you enter it, but then the majority of it left is just gravel and dirt and miscellaneous things. I want to get rid of that pole that's in the middle so we can have just empty area, but it's a fairly large building, and that's my goal and that's my wish. So let's get started. The place, do I have that book here? No, I don't. Gwen, can you grab me the small blue Creation Science Evangelism book that I use? I don't think I see it. It's more of a pamphlet kind of thing. Nope. It's similar there. I think that might be it. That's it, CSE, right on the top there. Thank you. Wonderful, wonderful producer helping out. Most of the things that we do in this ministry is called Creation Science Evangelism. Thank you for my books. Can you turn on my lights too? Thank you. We've had a lot of good things going on in busyness. But anyway, we have a lot of things in Creation Science Evangelism, and their website is, I think it was on the back here, drdino.com, and that's www.drdino.com, and their phone number is 850-479-3466. I assume that's still good because that's on the back of the pamphlet, but they have a huge selection of things that you can get for ministries and purchase, which I encourage everyone to do, and it's just an absolute awesome ministry that gets facts and figures, and you just can't deny facts and figures. If you do, you just want lies, and that's okay if you want lies, but I don't. When you have lies, you can't make good decisions. Good, next slide. There we go. Next. Oh, by the way, it's in Pensacola, Florida, and Kent Hovind is the guy that kind of started this. Next. Keep going, kind of through some of these. Keep going. Yeah, keep going. All right. The Dinosaur Adventureland is what they call it, and there's piles of things for dinosaurs and facts and figures, and you can't see some of this, but it's really neat. There's piles of people. There's about 40 people that work at this place, and it's a fairly large place. Keep going, because they can't see these slides. So a lot of kids and a lot of buildings, and they have a sea creature area where they have archaeology and things that they've dug up out of the earth. And it's a pretty neat place. Someday I want to be able to go down there and visit the place. Huge life-size dinosaurs that would, if you saw one of those things, you'd turn to your wife or your friend and go, "I'm leaving, you stay here." Whing! And you'd see the dust fall from behind you. You'd be gone. The Age of Dinosaurs. Here's no human being has ever seen a live dinosaur on page 142. Well, that's not necessarily true. That's one of their geo guides that they put out there. National Geographic. See, this is the stuff they try to push off on people when it's not correct. People have lived with dinosaurs. Oh. God said, in the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. That's Genesis 1:1. For in 6 days the Lord made heaven and earth, the sea, and all that in them is. Exodus 20:11. Adam must have seen dinosaurs. That's right. That's exactly right. Because I just get so... Next. In his 7th part 2, they explain Garden of Eden. And God said, "Let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters, and let it divide the waters from the waters. That's Genesis 1:6. There used to be a canopy of water overhead and water under the crust of the earth. Now, I don't know if you younger folk know this, but they think, let's go back a slide. They think that the way the center of the earth is, that there's this huge ball of melted magma and some different things, and then there's a layer of water and other layers, and they call that the aquifer, and basically it's underground pockets of water that is sizes that you and I can't fathom how big this stuff is. But that's why if you go out into the desert and different things and it's dry, but if you take and drill straight down into the earth, they find water that's underground, and that's because it's stored in huge caverns. I mean, huge. I mean, numbers that we just can't fathom. It's so big. And that's why we can get water out in the middle of nowhere. Now, eventually what happens is, if that's trapped water and the earth underneath has moved, and what was filling that area in has been shut off, if you take out water in this area, this huge cavern, eventually it runs out. Some of those aquifers still have the ability for water to come into them, so it can be refilled again over time. As it rains and the oceans evaporate and go into the clouds, and clouds move over to those areas, it then rains down into those on the earth, and then it goes down into the aquifers and fills the aquifers back up. So you do have some that get filled and some that don't. So you have to be careful about, when you take it out, what was in there and how high was it, and as you take out, is it being put back? Some people, they just drill in there and start taking it, they don't care. And 50 years later, the people 50 years from now, they're going to have to deal with it. We don't have to deal with it. Well, it's not very responsible to not watch that stuff to see, is this aquifer being refilled. If it's not being refilled, you have to tell the people, look, you got to go drill somewhere else or move or port your water in from somewhere. But it's irresponsible to just tell the next generation that's your problem. Next. The earth is the Lord's, and the fullness thereof, the world and they that dwell therein, for he hath founded it upon the seas, and established it upon the floods. And that's Psalms 24:1. To him that stretched out the earth above the waters, Psalms 136:6. Now, here we have, very interesting, the canopy. I love these graphics, and of course you guys can't see this, but we don't have a projector anymore, so you just have to bear with me for a while. A few feet of ice suspended by the Meissner effect above 10 to 15 miles or 20 kilometers of air. Some of these things, this is what everyone, what's interesting is, years and years ago, that the canopy and the atmosphere and the information, that the atmosphere and all the things around the earth used to be a certain way. And when the flood happened, the whole ecology of the earth has changed, because people used to live 6, 7, 8, 900 years. So when the flood occurred, it's tracked that people started living 400 and 300 years and 200 years. So what happened? Well, things changed dramatically. So when you have the barometric pressure pushing down on the earth that has changed, that pushes different pressures on people. If you ever notice, you go in an airplane and you start off and you go up and you hit 30,000 miles or 30,000 feet, which is the average, or 30 or 33,000, I think. Your ears might pop, and that's because the airplane is putting pressure against your body and your eardrums, and that's why you can hear that stuff. Some people's sinuses get messed up. But what happens is, as you go further away from the earth, the pressure on your body changes, which changes the environment. So when the flood occurred, it changed the environment, because the water from that was in the air, the clouds area, and the water from under the dirt and the aquifers, the Bible talked about it assuaged or it blew up. So the water came from underneath, and it rained, which was enough to cover this planet and cover everything. So when you change all these things, you change the environment, you change how long people can live. That explains when the Bible says they were living 7, 8, 900 years, and now they're living 4, 3, and 200 years. Well, right there about the flood is when that occurred, and the years changed. I love the facts. Why do we find trees buried standing straight up? If evolution was true, then trees would not be able to stand up for 500,000 years so that the sediments can build up on top of them. Trees over 100 years will fall down. They naturally rot out at the base where they're dead. So that whole evolution thing is just not right based on the evidence that we find. The creation's timeline, and we've gone over this before, but it's been about 2,000 years since Jesus has been here. 4,400 years is about the flood. Jesus' birth was after 4,400 years. The flood occurred, Noah's and the animals and things. Now, the question is, when it stopped raining and the water stopped coming up from under the dirt, how long was Noah and the ark floating around? Anybody have the question to that one? We don't know, huh? Do you? Well, it's very interesting that when it stops raining, you don't all of a sudden take your boat and put it on land. It floats around for a while. You know, Ken has a story about how somebody says, you know, if they had rocks, and what they used to do in the old days is they actually would take rope, and they'd take rocks and tie the rope to the rocks, and then they would throw it overboard. And the reason why they would do that is as rain and the bad weather would come, if you have rope with rock hanging over the side of it, it helps keep the boat stable from turning over. So one of the people did an email to Kent and says, you know, that's just going to slow him down. And Kent sent an email back and says, where was he going? It's real simple. Noah and your boys, go for wood and make an ark. The boat was made out of gopher wood. Go for wood, make an ark. Okay. God's in there, says, Noah, come into the ark. And that's a whole teaching altogether. Now, if God says come into the ark, where does God have to be to say come into? Theoretically, God had to have been in the ark to say come in here. Anyway, Noah, boys, come in the ark. Get in, shut the door, which God shut, and then float. He wasn't going anywhere. So speed was not an issue. See, these people that want to talk against the Bible like that do not read it to what it says. Noah, get in, float. After I'm done, land, get out. You're not going anywhere. You don't have sails to go anywhere. You simply need to float. Simple. But these people say, well, it's just going to slow the boat down. No. I got another one for you guys. You ready? This is great. There's a guy that's driving along the expressway. Of course, in the United States, everybody has expressways, so you all know what expressways are. So the story goes that there's a guy on the side of the road, and he's got this cow and a calf, and the calf is halfway out of the cow. So the guy pulls over. He's been watching this a while, and he sits there and he looks. He says, you know, he goes up to the guy and says, and the guy that's dealing with the calf and the cow, he says to the stranger, you got any questions? He said, yeah. He says, well, what's your question? He says, how fast was that calf going when he went in there? Now, this is a cow having a baby. He said, no, you're looking at this the wrong way. The tool that he was using was a calf puller. So he's using the tool to pull the calf out of the cow because it wasn't coming properly. So he wasn't sure about what the tool was. So he says, no. The calf did not fall off the truck and accidentally go back into the cow. He's trying to take the calf back out. So it is possible for two people to be standing here looking at the same thing and assume totally the wrong stuff, like the Grand Canyon. Wow, how long did it take for the Grand Canyon to evolve? Number one, it didn't evolve. It's all I got to say sometimes is people, it didn't evolve. Here's my question. Here's the Grand Canyon, and it's a really big, and it goes all over the place, and it goes back and forth and up and down in every which direction. If you guys have ever been there, it's big. If you walk down, take a motorcycle back up because you will be tired. Take water, take something. But anyway, so the question then I have is, if it evolved, and the water got rid of all that stuff over millions of years, then why is it that when you look at the Grand Canyon walls, that, you know, when it rains, rain always washes things down, and you always have run lines and erosion lines when water goes down against things? Why aren't there erosion lines going down over the side of the Grand Canyon walls? If it's been sitting there for millions of years, there should be erosion lines. Where's the erosion lines? Makes you think a little bit, doesn't it? Where are the erosion lines? If water is coming and raining for millions of years, it should hit the dirt, go over the side, and cause continual areas to build up where water is going to erode the sides of the Grand Canyon. And yet, when you look at the Grand Canyon, there are no erosion lines. So, the facts prove the case that it's not evolution. It didn't happen that way. So now, the other little facts and figures, I love going through this. Last year, we hit, I think it was last year or this year, we were in 2013, I think it was 2012, maybe it was this year, that we recorded about 7 billion people on this planet. Now, the number 7 is very significant in the Bible, and it stands typically for completion. So, when you study prophecy, the number 7, that monitor's not on, if you can turn it on for me. If you study prophecy at all, the number 7 totally sticks out. And it's just absolutely astounding how God put these numbers in. And he knew this over 2,000 to 3,000 years ago when he wrote this book for us to follow about these things. And it's astounding. So when we have God that put everything together about 7,000 years ago, and we hit the 7,000 years, and we hit the number 7 million people on this planet. It's not a coincidence that these numbers are hitting when they hit. You know, it's also like you have, if people were millions of years ago started to evolve, and they came from a fish, and a fish came to a this and a this and this and this, and eventually you started getting these humans. Where are all the dead bodies? There should be piles of dead bodies still, because we know that we can still dig up bones because we dig up dinosaurs and the bones aren't rotted away. There should be piles of more people on this planet than there are. Where are all the bones if evolution is true? The evidence proves that's not true. The amount of people on this planet, they checked it back to the amount of time, 6,000 years ago when Adam and Eve, about 6 or 7,000 years ago when Adam and Eve were on this planet. If you start looking at Adam and Eve begot these two begot these two begot these two begot these two, the amount of people on this planet is exactly what should be on this planet based on today's numbers. So from 7,000 years ago, these begot for hundreds of years and thousands of years. Now we have the proper amount, because there's a certain amount of people, percentages, that as you have a society starts to build, a certain amount of disease is going to wipe a certain amount of people out. They've looked at the numbers and the past history of these things and determined, okay, if there are 10,000 people in this tribe, the averages are you're going to get 1% or 10% or 20% of those people over a period of time are going to die off naturally by diseases or whatever, and by wars. The people that are here are the proper amount based on those numbers that are factual evidence from history. So I have no problem with that based on the facts. Evolutionists have huge problems. Where's the bones? You know, this is when you look at the facts and you look at what should be, these evolutionists, their facts are screwed up. They have no facts to back up their case, and yet they put this stuff in these school books and indoctrinate our children to try to believe stuff that's absolute total lies. I don't like liars. Don't lie to me. I will prove you wrong if you're lying. And I can tell you're lying, so don't lie to me. Anyway, I'm diversing. Let's go to the next slide. Next one. Kind of get through this because I went through all that. We have a question. What does that mean, though, if there are no erosion lines? Aha! Back to the Grand Canyon. Okay, the erosion lines. So if there's no erosion lines in the Grand Canyon, that means that the Grand Canyon could not be millions of years old. It's not available. If it was there for millions of years, you know, it does rain in the Grand Canyon area. So if there's rain that comes down and hits the earth and eventually comes over the side of the Grand Canyon, that will erode the sides of the Grand Canyon out. As water comes over the Grand Canyon, it's going to erode the sides out over millions of years. You should see the erosion lines if that occurred that way. That did not occur that way because there are no erosion lines. That means that that area could not be millions of years old. Period. Now, I have no problem with when there was a flood. Back to again, this is what this book says. I have no problem with the facts. There was a flood. And over time, the water subsided down back into the aquifers. Okay? So, if it subsided in the Grand Canyon area, and there's an area where the water went down into an aquifer under the Grand Canyon or at the end of the Grand Canyon, that water is going to go down quick. And it's going to take out that dirt very fast. And Kent was also talking about how you have the top of the Grand Canyon and the bottom of the Grand Canyon. Where the water comes in is at a different place than where it goes out. The heights don't match. So gravity cannot pull it down in that direction or something along those lines. It kind of floored me when I was listening to this. I really encourage you guys to go listen to Kent Hovind on the internet. We have a question that came in. How would the flood of Noah's create the Grand Canyon? Well, that's the key. See, kind of what I was just going over is that when you have all this water on the earth, and let's assume for a minute that there's an aquifer that opened up that didn't have water in it, that water would rush very fast down, and let's say the Grand Canyon area was a kind of a bowlish area. That water would start to rush real quick and start to take out the dirt and wash that stuff away. Now, half of you are thinking, well, that's evolution. No, it isn't. It's not evolution because water takes away dirt fast. That's like when you have the, what's the word I'm looking for? I even went over there, the Niagara Falls. They say, here's the Niagara Falls, and this is, if you look at the Niagara Falls and where it follows the trail, it goes all the way back and then goes out to one of the oceans or a very large part of water. Their theory is that it started here and it started to erode the dirt over time and erode it and erode it and erode it. And then here it is today, and it has had a certain amount of years all the way back. Well, those years and the estimates don't work. So here we're back again with the physics and what they want it to be do not match up. So that's why I encourage you young people, if you're watching this on YouTube or Ustream, just because a school says that this is what it is, then tell them, back it up with your facts and prove it to me. We need to start questioning these people now. When I was a kid, I didn't really question it because I assumed these people were going to be honest. It's a school and they're trying to teach me these facts. I come to find out that these people have been lying. It's time for the youth to stand up and start saying, you prove it to me and show me your case. You show me the proof that says that, or get out of my, nice words, stop talking to me. Get that stuff out of those books. If the kids would stick up and say, teacher, you're a liar. Next. That's not lying to them. That's not cussing them out. You're saying, teacher, you're a liar. Stop it. I encourage you guys to do that. Maybe we need to stand up in these classrooms and start doing this. I mean, McKent was talking once about how someone he knew was telling him a story about one of his kids. The parents were teaching the truth to the child. So the child, this is like a fifth grader or fourth grader, ish, was going to school, and the teacher would stand up and start talking about something, and the student, this little fourth grader or fifth grader, whatever it is, I'm talking about a small kid, would say, excuse me, teacher, that's not right, you're wrong. And it was all this evolution stuff. And she'd do this all the time. I'm listening to the story going, yeah, great, kid, go do it. So the teacher finally went to the father and said, I'm just going to quit teaching about evolution here because your child keeps standing up and telling me I'm not right and I'm not doing this anymore. And the father said, yay, stop lying. Basically, the attitude was good. Stop lying. And then he thought, why on this God-green earth should we send these fourth graders to school to go to war against the teachers? We should be doing this. That's not right to do that. Now, good, the kid stood up at that ages and said, you're wrong, and stop it. That's what now at the age I am, if somebody told me to go to school and I knew that they were wrong, I'd take, teacher, you're wrong, and this is why, stop it. Do not lie to me. And they would stop doing that. When we confront people in their lies and their deceit, they eventually will stop doing that when we're put in their place. And we, the good people, have to stand up against the bad people and say, stop doing this. I'm not putting up with it. Let's see, the biggest pterosaur, I think that's right, flying over the inland sea is pteranodon. I'll go back in there. Pteranodon. Like all reptiles, it grows throughout its life. Yeah, some animals, they continue to grow. They don't ever stop growing. Oh, there was another story Kent was talking about how I think it was Carl Ball. Don't quote me on this, but I think he said Carl Ball or someone had taken some fish and put it, a saltwater fish, and put it in a saltwater tank. But over each day, slowly replaced it with non-salt water. So the saltwater fish over, I think it was about a period of 2 weeks, stopped being saltwater fish and became regular freshwater fish. So by slowly changing the environment, you change the saltwater fish into normal water fish. That's doable. That's scientific. That's studyable, demonstratable, repeatable, provable science. That's proper science. To try and tell somebody something that they can't repeat in a lab, that you say, look, if you get these things together and you run this science, the test tubes and everything, you should be able to come with the same conclusion that these people came up with. If you can't, that means they're wrong and they're lying. Dinosaurs were big lizards that lived with Adam and Eve. I agree with that. You know, that's what Satan tried to do. Is if Satan tried to say there's no dinosaurs, Adam would have went to him and said, excuse me, idiot. Yes, I said idiot. That's not a bad word. Excuse me, idiot. Do you realize that there's a dinosaur right there? So you're trying to tell me that dinosaurs don't exist and I'm looking right at them? Well, duh! That won't work with Adam. But as time has gone on, as people have procreated, because God said, be fruitful, multiply, go have kids and be happy. That we multiplied and then we created tools and we started killing off a lot of the dinosaurs. By the way, there are still dinosaurs here today. This is 2013 and they're still here on this planet. So anybody that tries to tell you there's no dinosaurs anymore, they're lying. Or they're misunderstood. They don't know what they're talking about. They may not purposely be lying, but they just don't know what they're talking about. Were there dinosaurs on the ark? Were there? Well, I would say there could have been. Because, do you take full-grown dinosaurs? Or can you take babies? Or can you take eggs? Now, one day, a couple of years ago, see, when I was taught about the Bible when I was a kid, I wasn't taught a lot about it, but you see these books, and in the book has this ark. And the ark has this giraffe sticking way out, and here's the ark down here, right? So you're thinking, okay, the first doubt question that comes to mind is, how did Noah get all those animals on there, grown mothers and adults, on the ark that are that big? There's no way that he can get all those animals on that ark. And most people think this, and some people won't say anything because they're afraid to say things. And I was listening to Kent talk about this, is you take babies and you take eggs. Well, duh. Yeah. I never even dawned on me to do that. It's assumed when someone shows you a picture that it has to be like the picture. Sometimes we don't get the point. There are animals. It didn't say what size. I took the assumption that they were all large. So that's why I'm trying to get you guys educated on what the facts are. What if they took all eggs and there were no mother and fathers there? No, I don't think that was the case, but could it have been? Could have God said, Noah, come into the ark, and and God says, I'm going to shut the door, so God shut the door. So get in, float. Not needing to go anywhere. When you're done, land, get out. Now, Noah did not get out immediately because there was nothing to get out onto. It was all swampland, basically. So he stayed there for a while. Then he got out. So could have God rolled out all the eggs? Now, this is theory. This is just talking right now, but I think that they went 2 by 2. So when God says that the animals went 2 by 2, that implies that they walked on their own. It doesn't apply that they rolled on their own. Could some of them roll on their own? Sure. God could have said, here, come on, you get in there. Rolled them on up there. Went to the next 2 eggs. Come on, you 2 eggs, come on. Probably Noah took the eggs and got them. Maybe the animals, the mothers and fathers, brought the eggs with them, set them down. Noah picked them up, put them on there. Maybe the mom and dad took the eggs with them. Maybe God just put them on there. You know, we're talking about a creator that created you, me, producer, the helpers, and everybody. Created all this stuff. Now, he said, let there be light. And there was. Now, when God spoke it into existence, don't you think that God would had to have had light to then say, light be? The ability to create, or it had it? These are things to think about. Now, what about space? The distance between products is called space. Whether it's here, here, or here. Where did space in itself come from? Forget the evolution for a minute. Let's say there isn't anything. Before the anything wasn't here, and it didn't have a brain to say, let's see, I think I'm going to become something. And poof, it was. Now, if it wasn't in existence, it can't think itself into existence because it's not here yet. Duh! But where did the space come from for the dirt to exist in? That'd make your brain hurt a little bit, won't it? And by the way, Where did sound come from? And why doesn't sound evolve into something else? You know, the evolutionists always just want to pick on the creation that God did. All they want to do is pick on that. They don't want to pick on the physics. Where did sound? Where did light? Where did consciousness? Where did concepts? Where do all these things come from? And why aren't they evolving into something else now? And why can't we see this evolution? There are 6 different kinds of evolution, and the evolutionists always want you to assume what they want you to assume. They don't say it's evolution number 22, which is not provable, demonstrable, and repeatable. The only time we see evolution, what you might consider evolution, it isn't really evolution, is that when you have a dog that produces another dog, you might have a dog that has 5 legs instead of 4. But it still isn't evolution because it already had that DNA in there to begin with. It had the DNA to create a leg. It created another leg. It didn't create a banana. A banana is not sticking out the side of that product and say, oh, look, I'm evolving into a banana. Oh, let's pop that one off and make some bananas now. So what you're telling me is bananas evolved from a human being, and they had the ability to reproduce bananas only and not reproduce humans. Well, why can't a banana come from a human, and then that banana start to evolve a human again? See, this stuff they come up with is just silliness. It's asinine, insane what they're doing, what they're coming up with. You can't prove this stuff. Now, we have some charts here that you guys can't see, but Noah was about 600 when he went into the ark. Here we're back again that people were living hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years. Now, between you and I, of course, we've got lots of people watching this, but between you and me and the audience, or the audience and I do not, and I repeat, I do not want to be in this planet for 600 years. No. Don't want to do it. Not going to do it. I think I'm going to be raptured out of here, and we're going to be here, so I encourage anybody to get saved, and then God is going to take you to heaven, and He ain't going to put you into hell. That's a whole other discussion altogether. Well, was hell originally intended for people? No. It's intended for the angels that screwed up, but that's different. Anyway, I'm digressing. Let's see here. Dinosaurs Everywhere by Carl Harrison. Let's see. This book says, Apatosaurus, that's a good one, baby was also very tiny compared to its huge, long-necked parents, but it grew quickly. In just a few weeks, it grew from the size of your pillow to the size of your bed in a couple of weeks. Now, that's pretty impressive to see something grow that much. And, you know, when you are a baby at 9 months and you are birthed, that, if you guys ever watch that birth process, it's amazing. Just think that the head size is going to come out of the size of that thing. Oh, if I was ever married, I'd say, look, you want some ice cream? There's your ice cream. 3 o'clock, you want anything else? Sir, sir, yes, sir. No. Why bring babies? They're smaller. The biggest dinosaur egg found is smaller than a football, which is, a football is, about like this. You can't see the pictures, but the great dinosaur egg, it's got an egg, which is, about this big, about a hand size, and it's got the other one is about like this big, if you look at the size relationship. Very interesting. Producer, can I have some water, please? Where I bring babies, they are smaller. The biggest dinosaur egg found is smaller than a football. They weigh less, they eat less, they sleep a lot more, and they are tougher. Yeah, they're tougher. When you get an old person fall down, go boom, they lay there for a couple of minutes, sometime a while, and they go, oh, I got hurt, I can't get up. A kid will go, ouch, and get up and walk away. Kids are I remember years ago, and I did tell my sister this, that we were in a hotel room, and my parents went off to do some things, and they left me in charge. Okay, I'm in charge, I can do this. Well, couple period of time goes by, and I'm on the bed with the kid's laying on my chest right here, and I thought, I got this. She's calmed down, sat there, and I fell asleep with the kid resting on me. And I woke up to, boom, ah! I said, what's going on? Where's the kid? I'm looking all over the bed. Where's the kid? Kid is on the floor. Right off the bed, Bam! Oh, I thought the kid cops were coming to get me. I don't know where I got that one from, but, so crying like crazy. I thought I'd broke the neck and all the stuff, so I picked the kid up, put him on the arm like this, and I'm holding the kid going, oh, please don't report me, don't report me. That's what you're thinking up there. And after a while, calmed down and realized, it's not by itself anymore, so she's all right, and she just calmed down and just relaxed. And I went, good, she can't talk and report me. It's something. But the point was the kid bounced, came back up, and it was okay. Now, if I fall off a bed, I'd be there for a while going, oh, I fell down. Let's see here. They are tougher. After the flood, they will live longer to produce more offspring. That's right. That's correct. So, when an 18-year-old woman has birth, you can go from 18 up to, 35 or 40, I've heard, and have 4, 5, 6, 7, 10, 12. The Duggars, if you ever watch TV, I think they're at 19 now. They just had their 19th. Amazing story about the Duggars. Again, they're a Christian family, and God provided all those years. It's pretty amazing. Now we got some pictures of giraffes and some large animals. Let's read a bit. And every living thing of all flesh, 2 of every sort, shalt thou bring into the ark, 7 of them. To keep them alive with thee, they shall be male and female. That's Genesis 6:19. Kind and all the cattle after their kind. Oh, this reading this. This is going to be Genesis 7:14 and 15. This is a continuance. Kind, and all the cattle after their kind, and every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth after his kind, and every fowl after his kind, every bird of every sort. And they went in unto Noah into the ark, 2 and 2 of all flesh, wherein is the breath of life. All in whose nostrils was the breath of life, of all that was in the dry land. That's Genesis 7:22. Now I have some science things here that I didn't get a lot of chance to look at some of these, but it's when you look, this is amazing. When you look at the way God put together all these different animals. For instance, you have looks like a beetle. Teaching systems of the beetle. The way they breathe, insects breathe through the spiracles in their skin, not nostrils. Now, here's an experiment I ran. Don't tell anyone. But years ago, I was staying in a basement, and I saw this roach crawling across the floor, and I said, I'm going to run my experiment. So it took me a cup, and I captured it, and then I slid a piece of, you got the cup, and I captured it, and I slid something underneath, and I grabbed it. And then I flipped it upside down, and I got this beetle sitting in here. So I took me some tape, some nice wide tape, and I took the beetle and I stuck it on that tape. So here's the beetle stuck on the tape. So I took the tape and I folded the tape up like this, all right? But I didn't compress it in the middle. I folded it kind of like in a circular pattern, all right? So I cut off all its oxygen all the way around, totally cut the oxygen off, and then I took that tape and I set it down for about 3 days. Lots of time goes by. Now, if somebody cuts my oxygen off 3 days, it's called dead.